That was freaking clever, wasn't it? Rightio, at Milsomes at the moment, we're mixing up the turquoise, that one there, which Chris is doing right now. Splendid job. So I'm just going to start with the leaders so I can do the jams and the engine bay, that sort of stuff, and I'll come back and get the rest because I'm a bit poor at the moment. So it's that top one. It looks sort of blue in there, but when you sort of look at it, so on the camera that looks blue, but in the naked eye it looks green. That's just what I want. Now I used to mix paint at Bunnings. I'm not going to talk to her because that's exactly when you make mist tints. When you wonderful. There's quite a lot of stuff in that. These days cars are mainly white, grey, silver, black.
Yeah, like the charcoals and...
Yeah, they're popular. I don't know why some of these louder colours aren't. Colour matching here is fantastic.
What that was, they were doing a big archway into Monash.
Wow.
Yeah, you can take it into the light and have a look.
God.
Yeah, and that's about 6. There's formulas on the back. I can't remember how many.
He's brilliant because when he colour matches, he puts the formula on the back of the label. He's incredible, isn't he? What he does.
That's all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You back at school?
Yeah, back now.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was always mixing that Valspar stuff. Oh, wow.
See?
Yeah.
There you go.
Green pearl.
Can I ask you a school question, Phil?
Sure.
Has she finished the boat?
Yeah, that's
I've got all
beautiful.
there to do.
I have you on?
Yeah.
That's mad, isn't it?
That's lovely.
So I've always been curious about how they packed pressure cans with premix paint. And what did you... Oh,
Sorry.
no, that's all right. So this is just pre-packaged with what? Thinner and...
And the gas.
Oh, gas.
the,
The propellant or whatever.
propellant, yeah.
So this is Sharni. Hi, Sharni.
Hi.
And she's mixed up a colour. And I had no idea how this is really interesting for me. So it's got a plunger, like a ram down there, piston down there, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you stick your stuff in the pot.
Yes. And then just pump it through.
That is the hardest thing to match. It almost looks like that Dukes of Hazzard colour. You know, that... like, that would be... I don't know. I don't envy your dad doing that.
Sorry, I'm just going to make sure I've got
Well, you've got to
all
make sure
the
it's mixed. No, because I can cut
colour
this
in
down.
there. So I just pour it in.
Unreal. So I'm standing here before trying to figure how this happens, thinking it's gravity fed, but it's unreduced because basically it's thin as in the can,
Yes.
but it's got a ram and it overcomes the pressure of the propellant in the can and just injects it in through the top. See, I used to think they'd mix it, reduce it, stick it in a can, then roll the lid on with that joint, with that seam at the top. Like they have a machine that rolls on it. And then put the propellant in later, but how wrong was I? There you go, a can of
So
paint,
that's
ready to
it.
go. Unreal.
Pop the
Thanks
lid on.
so much.
And just spray it out.
Do you actually try it there?
Yeah, just to make sure it's all working.
Yeah, she
It's all
works.
good.
Thank you so much.
That's it.
I better go paint for my stuff.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome. How's that? G'day, welcome to the third video on our little shopping centre beta. Thanks very much to all the people that have commented that it's sort of nice to see an ordinary car with very little value being done. It defies all common sense doing a car like this, but it's particularly useful to me, and that's the reason I'm going to the trouble of doing it. Changing the colour again is a big job, but not that big. These are very, very easy cars to pull apart, and you know, it's actually quite fun. I've got to say, it's pretty good fun doing it. I don't mind, given that they're just so easy and well engineered and thought out. So, given that we're going to do this, I thought it would be, you know, 1,000 views, that sort of stuff. But yeah, picked up 4,000 views on it, and I'm pretty happy with that on the first couple of them. So, or thereabouts. So, I'm just sifting through parts. I've got loads of parts under the house, which have been under there for about 5 years maybe. From the red one that we wrecked, and also the silver one that was wrecked. That was the car, if you remember, or if you saw it, that I was going to do with Charlie to get him off his computer, but he lost interest and didn't want to do it. And I got the Plymouth, and room was a bit of a problem, so that just went off and got destroyed. But I kept a lot of the parts from it. So I've been sort of hot and cold with that burgundy one out there, whether to hang on to it or ring Toyota, but you know, we've got all the trim I can use out of it, the power steering. I will use the engine, it's done a lot less miles, and the other thing, what was the other thing? The front struts, I think, in this little one were leaking all over the place. That's not roadworthy, so I'll just take the struts out of that. Front brakes, I think I did, I'm not sure. But I don't think parts going to be an issue for this build, for want of a better term. We're looking at a windshield, we're looking at paint. I've got new tyres, I've got several good exhaust systems, got all good interior stuff. I mean, I've got everything here I need to do it. That makes it very cheap to do. So I think I'm just going to need a screen, paint supplies, and you know what? That's probably it. Oh, clutch. I'll get a clutch. I think the drive shafts in the burgundy one are good too. I'll just do a couple of little tight circles just to make sure they're not clicking, but I think a set of drive shafts, new ones, are about $200. I don't think I'm going to even need that though. So everything's here to make something really, really good and worthwhile, which I'm stoked about. I haven't been able to prepare it for paint. It's still outside at the moment. I've just got junk strewn everywhere in here, and I'm just finding nooks and crannies everywhere to try and store some of this stuff until I'm finished. Then I'll have a big throw out. In fact, what I might do is stick everything I don't want in the red cast shell and just open it up to anyone that wants the stuff. They can come and get it. Or once that's happened, I'll just ring a truck up and he'll come and pick it up and it'll go up and get crushed. So that will leave the little baby blue car. I've still got that. I just need to finish this one, get it registered, and I don't think it's going to be a long process. I need to get it painted sooner than later because we're just having buckets of rain at the moment, which has slowed me down. But it means then once it's painted, which has to be done by Easter, then I can just put it together and register it in the winter. That's easy. So I don't think there's much more to say. All the stuff, Toyota stuff's wonderful. The 97 loom, the original wiring loom I can use, which is a great thing because the holes they use actually have a double lip on them. So they seal up. So for example, on the A-pillars where they come down, that's a big drainage area for water from the planning chamber and also off the screen and everything. And so they have to seal properly in there, otherwise you get leaks in the car. And that's what's happened. So if I go making bigger holes for the later loom and that sort of stuff, it's less than ideal, if you know what I mean. So I'm glad I can use the old one. About the only part that won't go in is the passenger seatbelt warning. And I kind of like that, not because I need it, but it's another blank that's not blanked, if you know what I mean. There's actually a light behind there that does something, but it doesn't matter. That's not important. So we're just going to sift through the bits that I want to use, store the bits I don't want to use, and start on the bodywork. So by next chapter, we're actually into bodywork, which is minimal. There's just like little dents all over it, which we'll just fill and basically block it back, scuff it, prime it, paint it, and then we put it together. So with all that said, thanks again to those that have commented that are looking forward to seeing this. I didn't think it was going to be a popular thing, but you know what? People have been positive, so I'll do it. Yeah, with that said, hope you enjoy. Look, I've got my camera going. It's called Granny Cam. It's when someone has a camera stuck to their head. Motorbike riders do it all the time. This footage. I'll show you what I'm doing. Hang on. It's cold here. Is there anything down here you want?
No.
Hang on. Oh, do you want some mandarins?
No.
So dreary Melbourne weather at the moment. It's rained and things full of water, but no one cares. Even to the point where the insulation's fallen off the roof under the headlining, but that doesn't matter. I'll pull that out and just lick over it with paint to make it look nice. Kick the screen out, haven't done that yet. What else is there to talk about? These are the holes I'm talking about that I mentioned before. And, oh no, they're just normal. It's just a normal hole. I thought they were double lipped. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking about holes like that, which actually have a protrusion on them, so they seal sort of in here and also on top of that lip there. Now, originally I decided I was going to put the 98 lume in and block that hole up. It's still pretty dirty, but I don't need to. I just use the old wiring loom, which makes things a bit easier. Yeah, what's that one like? I'll put that grommet back. So, this wasn't supposed to happen. I might use new insulation, hey? It's not going to really cost anything to do that. But, yep, I'm pretty happy with it. All I have to do with this is I'm going to take all the brakes out, the clutch out, the hydraulic lines, and I'll leave those body lines there, and I'll just tin foil over them. That's a Cold War Motors idea that I saw on Ash's 510 on his Datsun 1600. So I'll leave them in situ. I'll take the rack out, take all that stuff out. I'll take the front struts out. I might even take the lower control arms off just so I can just blow around there with paint. That's all very quick to do. But everything's just cleaned up so well. It's a peach of a body. But it's not unusual. Most of these have a peach of a body on them because they're galvanised. Or just put a bit of phosphoric on there just before we paint it and let that cover up. But yeah, it's all looking pretty good. Right, so this is just another load of crap that I had in the shed. Loads of bits I can use and some I won't and I'll get rid of. Things like the sun visors. That's a 98-99 one. It's got like a bluish thing. They seem to stand up a little bit better. They're a bit wrinkly. They're the ones out of this blue car behind it. Got a full set of those. That one as well, so I might reuse those. Find it the fuel release. I've already got those. That's the airbag from the one that was tested. Spare one we had, the inflator. And bracketry, that was be out of the door opening, little Toyota badge, door handles. Things like the power door lock switch, and there's all sorts of relays here. I don't know what that is. Relay light reminder. That's a light reminder. New cigarette lighter that's not been used. That sits under the ECU. I'm not actually sure what it is. I need to look at that. A couple of sets of aircon switches. Oh, that's an aircon switch. There it is. Aircon switches and hazard switches and demister switches, power mirror switches, brake light switch, central locking, the motors for the doors. That's the right one, and the other one's there next to it. That's your central locking module, I think, and I've just got to see on the old loom it's got the same sort of orange plug. That's a non-genuine electronic flasher. Power mirrors, these guys here, got a set of those. Oops, and a clock spring, I won't need that, or at least I might. Actually, I might need a clock spring because the horn wire, which is that guy, I'm not sure if this needs to be put in with the combination switches and all that sort of stuff. I actually don't know. So it's worth looking into that because I'm not sure. Dimmer rear stack. That's just a loom for a tail light. There's 3 instrument classes. I've got 4 instrument classes, including the red one. And I'm still having a second thought about the red one. Should I just get rid of it? Because I've still got the light blue one. There's a couple of standard dashes and the taco dash. That's the one we're using. There's window reg there. ABS, not ABS, what do you call it? SRS sensor or module, if you like. And a couple of computers, ECUs. They're all 4E manual ones. So you can see an array of junk there. But junk as it is, there's quite a lot of it I can use. Stacking things in boxes. A lot of this is out of the red car that was written off and the silver car that we bought for Charlie to experiment with. I've got all that stuff in there. I've got all the stuff in here too. I've got a bit of that guard. I'm just sort of, as I'm doing this, looking at orange plugs. That one down there is the central locking one. So I reckon, like, it's missing this bit here for the seatbelt warning, but I would not care so much about that if it made life a lot easier. And at the moment, I need to make life as easy as I can. So, it looks like it's going to start raining. Interestingly, I've taken the nuts off here. That is the original, where is it? Here. That's the original pedal box for the 96-97, which kind of fits. Oh, bugger it. Get on there, mate. What are you doing? Oh, the pedal's in the way. Hang on a moment. I can't do it. Oh, yes, I can. And it bolts up in there. The 98, 99 one's different. Remember that crash bar I was talking about is different. That one's got a little bit of surface rust, but the oxidine will just wipe that off. I'm not worried about it. But it fits in differently. See that? And so I believe, yeah, if we tighten that up, it sits like that, so it clears that bolt hole there, and then secures at the top of that slot. So I threw out the crash bar that I had, the 98-99 crash bar from the red car, so I need one. Just looking under the house, there is absolutely stacks of stuff in boxes and all that sort of stuff. There are the rear brakes. There's a fuel filler, alternator, starter motor, a bunch of taillight lenses, aircon evaporator, you name it. Loads of stuff there, wiper motors, tailgate wiper, all sorts of stuff. So I've just got to go through it all and just chuck out what I don't want, or at least just offer it free of charge to anyone that wants the stuff. But I don't think at this point there's going to be all that much because I'm being careful. So once the car's finished, I can be careless. So yeah, I'm just going through. All the seatbelts don't fit in that box. I'm going to sort of stick them in here. And I don't think I've got many of the 98, 99 ones with the dual switches in them. But again, you know, some of these, when I've got more time, I'll go through them and cull the ones that are frayed too much or not roadworthy, whatever. But for now, it's, you know, I'm just doing what I can to sort of minimise my junk, and I have a lot of junk. So originally I thought my dream garage, I'd have all the Plymouth and the XW and the XD and the XC all done there, and the MG be all done. We've been talking about moving, and I'll be able to shed probably 3 times the size of this and just stock it with bikes and stuff like that. And I wanted a couple of those little Starlies. I've still got the blue one, the pale blue one. That one won't go back to Toyota because I wouldn't get enough for it, given the options it's got. So originally I wanted to have a couple of them anyway, just because I think they'll get fairly unusual, and I can hot one up and, you know, put a bigger engine in, a 5E or, you know, a turbocharger or something. But I just haven't got the room here. You know, it's getting to the point where it's beyond a joke. And my wife is so gracious. I don't know how she puts up with it. But long story short, the van will be going reasonably soon. I can paint this fairly soon too. Right. Starlie doors. Very easy to pull apart. Well, there's a fair bit of stuff in them, and the thing that's notable about them is that they weigh about the same as a fully loaded Fairlane door. They are so heavy. I'm just going to take that out. Hang on, coming up. What are you doing? There you are. So the plan with this, I'm going to obviously strip them, and then just paint around all here, stick them back on the car, and I'll paint the car in one hit. Oh, that's wrong. And it will be good. So I'm not using these door cards, I'll use the ones off the other car. So it doesn't matter if I damage these, but in saying that, they're very easy to get off without doing any damage. Like so. You can go over there. Oh boy. Even the mastic they use is releasable. You can actually stick it to each other, and I'll probably destroy the. But see, yeah, it comes. It's not as bad as the Ford stuff. It's tacky as it should be, but it'll clean up very, very well. When you consider what the Volkswagen was like, what the Polo was like, that was horrendous. So you can just leave these, or leave these. Oh, I'm too fat. And just release them half a turn. and then just grab under here somehow, and then it'll just pull off like that. Hang on. There we go. So all this stuff can go in a container. These will pop off now. But everything's just so nice to work on. It's just perfect. And you think about, you know, on a Falcon or something, a 20-year-old one is not going to be, well, actually, no, a 20-year-old one would be, because you're into the sort of 90s then, but a lot of the older cars weren't nearly as good as these to work on. Everything just fits, you know what I mean? So door seals on these are easy, they're clipped in, but you can move them one way and then release the clip, because, and you won't damage any of that, we can wash all those and reuse them. I think I've got several sets of them, and these you can just pull out. These ice cream containers are great for retaining bits and pieces, and so releasing the glass is quite easy, you can get to the bottom of it. There's the second one there. And this can be stiff to get out, and again, when you take these out, you have to be so careful you don't cut yourself, because there's a lot of sharp edges. And yeah, I've already hurt myself once. It wasn't serious, but it's enough to annoy me. I just pulled the Bailey channel out. Would have been smart if I took the Bailey channel out before I undid the bolts, but that's not how it worked with me. Just be damn careful when you unhook this, because it will bite you. There we go. And that's the only issue with these things, is everything's just so sharp. There's no safety folds on any of this stuff, which you probably wouldn't expect it, but sometimes you really want that stuff, right? Let's get rid of the glass. So here we go. What do I do with this? This is all the bits. We'll take the glass down, and there's two bolts on the glass, and then those bits there. Can you even see? Probably. I don't know if you can see or not. They just come out, and these are a shouldered bolt, 6mm bolt, so they've got a shank on them, and a large washer. And these are just walk in the park to take off, because all you need to do is flick that clip. They fold up like that, and then the glass will release. I might take the Bailey out first. That's why I love these things, they're just freaking easy, you know. There we go, Bailey channel's off. Glass now. Oh, that was really clever. So we can plonk this somewhere where it's safe. And I'll just fold the window reg up to there. And it all just comes out. So easy. Now we're not keeping the door lock mechanism or anything, because we're putting the power door locks. We've also got to drill this door, or both doors, for the wiring loom. This is all getting fitted out with the central locking, the power mirrors. One thing that is worth keeping in mind, would have been much smarter to leave that one in and then take that out, but I'm not smart, never said I was. There we go, there's a reg. Look at the condition it's in, it's beautiful. This is an unusual one, it just comes out of the corners. Like that. What else is there? Oh. That one, turn it around like a light bulb, take it out. There's a few foam pads and bits and pieces. The lock thing will just push out, and then we can take the lock assembly out. Also, it's worth noting the two side intrusion bars on this. It's not folded, it's tubular steel. So, yeah, I'm going around this car the long way, but I'm not too worried about it. And this whole thing will come out. There you go. A block of wood's probably even easier. It's just a matter of separating those two and that one. So if you had the sort of a semi-arch piece of wood, you could just stick it in and pop out. But yeah, no, they're all right. Check this out. I just scratched it and it all lifted off. Clear coat. Like I did that. And it just all... what about this one? Ready? It's pretty awful, isn't it, the way they do that? We don't want that in our new paint job. We want it to stick better. That'll devalue a car, any car. Unless it's a Falcon GT or something. But, yeah. Hardly worth it. A few last minute things before we take the car inside and get it ready for paint. I've got to take the hydraulics out or drain them. This brake fluid's very dirty. It does, it's hygroscopic, so that would have started off being blue, I'd imagine. Now it's all contaminated. And I've just got a thing down here, and we have to just make sure that we get rid of any traces of brake fluid. It just washes off. It's neutralised very easily with water. So any stray droplets, just neutralise it with water, and there's no problem. So I'm just going to spray all around there, and I'm about to drain out the lines. Just a word of advice with these things. This is a Brunnings one, so it's a gardening one. $2 at Coles. The reject shop ones are rubbish. This thing's lasted ages. I bought 2 of them at the time, but yeah, I just saw them before. They're $2, and they're great. Great for wet sanding. I think I was just hosing off engine oil that splashed up from that. What do we got? I'll pull you out. And you should come out, and then the whole thing should come out, which it does. So we're going to drain this. I don't want any of this going down the drain. But it's just great kit, this, isn't it? So we'll take the clutch off, we'll take the steering rack out, and I think we're nearly ready then to get it inside and start preparing it. This is the problem with a lot of Japanese cars. They're actually too good. The materials they're made from, like all this stuff is like brand new and not seized, and the materials they use are fantastic. I am a local car guy. I love our cars more than anyone's, but they just don't build them like this, and they never did. And this is why people always say to first car owners, get a Toyota or anything Japanese for that matter, but mainly Toyota. I mean, this thing is 22 years old, and the fittings on it are all like this. That could have been replaced at some stage, but it might not have either. Everything coming off this car looks like that, and it's old. It's got 300,000 k's on it. That's the reason I'm so keen to have or retain one of these cars, because I know if I buy anything else, it's not going to last as long. It just won't. The only downside of these is the safety aspect. I do worry about that. I think of it quite a lot. But the rest of it is nigh on perfect. Now I've popped a hole in here. I've gone a little bit off centre, so I've hit that bit on the edge is double thickness. That shouldn't matter. Sweet. Okay. And we've got to do the one in the door. And I will, like when I paint it, obviously I'm going to prime all that. But the other thing is, I'll put a bit of mastic around it as well. I'm just going to try this bit here, simulating the aperture for the door one. To make sure that is the right size. Oh, I could have just done that one, couldn't I? Oh, it doesn't matter. But that looks to be quite suitable too. It's a bit tighter on that one. That hole in the door is obviously a tiny bit bigger. Is that going to be alright? Give me a look. That might be a tiny bit too small actually. Maybe not. Hang on. That one might be a little bit too small. Oh no, that's fine. That's good. That's actually a better fit. Alright. That's cool. So we can take this out, knowing that we can drill our doors, and the one on the other side, and treat it accordingly as we paint it. I'm just drilling this slowly because I don't want to overheat the saw. These were cheap. So this probably isn't the right way to do it, but seems to let them last. And they come loose. Anyway, we got a hole. Cool. Done. Doors, that one's not done yet. Is there any dents? A couple of very, very small ones. Really, really easy job. Just going to clean these up. Scarf, pry and clear over the base and we're out of it. Here's one we cleaned. Well, sort of clean. Still pretty grotty on that side. But inside it looks like a 2-year-old door. Can I get my little camera in there? Can you see? And yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Look at that. How good does it look? It looks more like a 2-year-old door, not a 22-year-old door. Let's just lie him down. Oh, I haven't taken that out yet. Yeah. You can see Toyota actually painted this. That's actually primer, or whatever it is. I think it's primer. They've just opened the doors, shot into the jams and left it. And yeah, you can see there. Where is there? So we'll just have to clean it with a bit of prep wash. There's still a bit of dirt on it that I didn't see when it was wet, but that is looking pretty fine even though it's out of focus. Right, well there's a little bit more left. I got my new pack of sandwich bags, so I can just label all of these bits and pieces and bag them, because I ran out before. Take the rear shocks out because we need to paint in here. And lots of little plastic clips. They're probably accessible from underneath the fuel tank, I'm not sure. I do have to take the filler out because I want to be able to paint in here. As again, Toyota have left it, they've painted with the fuel cap on. Getting into here, you've seen all this. I do have to do a little bit of a movie, which is, you know, there's one here, there's one there, there's one there. The diameters, so I know where to put them back, but I'm not going to film that. I mean, that would just be death to watch. But there's lots of bits and pieces like that. Lots of grommets, lots of kind of stickers around the car like that. As well as sort of in the engine bay down here. Oh, sorry. Things like that. So there's, you know, one there and there's one there and all sorts of bits and pieces like that which we've got to make a note of. As well as taking out, you know, things like the indicator mount, the headlight mount. We've taken one of them out, I think. There's another one there. So bits and pieces, but it's looking pretty good. So we're almost ready to paint it. Having a heck of a lot of trouble getting that screen out. I bought a tool per day from Wicked XE, his recommendation, which is, I don't know where I put it, over here. It was from Super Cheap, and oops, there it is there. Now it was $8, reduced from $20, which would be great on a conventional bonded screen, but on a urethane one like this, pain in the neck, very, very hard to get out. So I might even get a guy to come out and take it out, because I don't know if I can be bothered, but I need to be able to sort of do everywhere on the car, because that's what I want to do. Getting a bit tired of people. I joined a couple of Facebook groups on these cars, and people are saying, you know, just change the steering wheel on a later car and they'll give it back and all this sort of stuff. 98s and 99s as opposed to 96, 97s are completely different cars. On a hoist I can pick them straight away, which aside from the colour, but if you had a white one you can pick it straight away because the mounts. Hang on, let me get under here and have a look. Oh, you can't see. Oh crap, hang on, I'll go and get a torch and you'll be able to see. The mounts, the controller mounts on the earlier cars are a lot flimsier. And I'm talking about that area there. They're only mounted with a small bracket and a couple of, what are they, 10 by 1.5s or something. The later car is completely different. They use a different mount. It's a longer, sort of better supported mount than what the other one is. So, yeah, that's how I pick them anyway. So what's left? Well, in the I've done these holes, but I couldn't finish one of the doors because the hole saw is blunt. Now, this got through the XC very easily. Somewhere in this brochure, this Starlit brochure, when the cars were new, they talk about the hardened shell. This is quite amusing. They talk about, they compare it to Lamborghinis, and they compare it to, you know, if some muscle car fanatic is pulling out their cubic centimetres, just tell them you have a 5.9 litre glove box. Things like that. And they say if the ride's not good enough for you, just go and buy a nice used flying saucer. But somewhere in here, they mention it, I'm sure. I don't know where I read it. But they do talk a little bit about the shell being hardened steel, and I wonder if it is in places, and that's why it sort of took out the hole saw. The power steering rack, which way does this go? It goes this way. Hang on a minute. Yep. They kind of feed them in. Get in there. He's going to sit in here. See all the width of it and everything is the same. And this is different too. So that will go there. It all fits in, all the bolt holes line up. I'll just see if the brackets do, just a moment. You can see the power steering stuff does fit from this end. It's the other end that it doesn't, which is the reason we're changing the column and the crash bar and all that. That's the cover for the old steering rack, which sits lower, but this one all fits well. So that's cool. That'll all tighten up well. I don't think we're going to have an issue with that whatsoever. So that's cool. I'm very, very happy with that. This should look really, really good. I was going to go the pink. I just thought, nah. So we're going to go that colour. That later we'll do the jams inside the car and the engine bay. You know, behind the bumpers, all that sort of stuff. And I'll go and get another couple of litres to just do the body when I'm ready to do that. But look, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed that. Take good care of yourselves. Enjoy a classic, and I'll see you around. What do you reckon? Shit.